This is a Weekend Explorer Quick Trip. Denali National Park sits in the interior of Alaska, more than a half-day's travel north of Anchorage. Denali means the high one in native Athabascan. At 20,320 feet, or 6,194 meters, it is the tallest peak on the North American continent.
Okay, it's a little chilly. It's just a little bit after 5 in the morning. And over my shoulder here, you can see Denali. And it's the one that's snow-covered. I know there's one next to it that might look a little higher from our perspective, but it's only because it's closer. The reason we really know that Denali's the higher one here, just kind of from a layman's sense, if you will, is because of all the snow on it. There's a lot of people that visit the park that never actually see the mountain itself.
Sitting on a relatively low base, its vertical relief is greater than that of Mount Everest. Denali's spectacular beauty is matched only by the incredibly harsh environment here. Temperatures have been measured at minus 95 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 70 degrees Celsius at only 2/3 the way up the mountain. Winter temperatures in the park are often 40 degrees below zero. Interestingly, this is the same in both Celsius and Fahrenheit. The ecosystem at the lower elevations near rivers like those by the entrance to the park is called taiga, a Russian word for the scant tree forest near the Arctic Circle. Climbing into the park, taiga gives way to tundra. The word tundra also comes from Russian, and it means an upland treeless mountain. The tundra is a world of miniature flowers and dwarf shrubs caused by the very short growing season. Ironically, these dwarfed plants are a critical food source for the supersized animals to be found here. At higher elevation, the wet tundra environment turns to a dry tundra environment at shrubline. Here, there are only scattered patches of vegetation. Above 7,200 feet, or 2,200 meters, vascular plants cease to exist and only lichen and moss survive. This primarily treeless vegetation gives rise to vast, uninterrupted views where large mammals are out in the open with no place to hide. The easiest to spot are the Dall sheep that look like small patches of snow until they move. The sheep are great to watch, especially the kids that scamper up and down the steep mountainsides. Our guide was impressed when I spotted this grizzly. Easy, right? Don't let the telephoto lens fool you. It's harder than it looks. This is the big advantage to going on a tour bus. More eyes to spot wildlife. We had seen lots of wildlife in the far distance, but we were hoping to see some a little closer up when we turned the corner to find this giant grizzly bear and her cub right next to the road. Grizzlies usually live as lone individuals except for mothers and their cubs. A female can have 1 to 3 cubs, and cubs may stay with their mother up to 3.5 years. This cub is so large, it is hard to tell them apart. Of Denali wildlife, the big 5, as they are referred to, are the caribou, wolf, moose, bear, and Dall sheep. Wildlife sightings are nothing short of a competitive sport here. Don't even think about going to the bar at the lodge unless you've seen at least 3 of the 5. There's nothing worse than a browbeating from a 90-year-old granny who's seen all 5. We were able to check off caribou and shortly after moose, but we still wanted to see wolves. Moose are the largest of the deer family and typically live close to lakes and marshes. They are excellent swimmers, but are aggressive when disturbed, especially during the breeding season in the fall. The Athabascans are great stewards of the area, and they are still allowed to subsistence hunt in parts of the park. Spring through fall, they hunt caribou, sheep, moose, bear, and small mammals. In winter, they return to lower climbs where the temperatures are warmer.
One of the most popular activities here in Denali is going for a hike. It's basically a trailless park, but be sure to check in with the rangers at the backcountry desk.
The Eielson Visitor Center, named after a pioneering Alaskan aviator, is a good place to see the mountain on clear days. Things you should know when traveling to Denali. No personal cars are allowed beyond Savage River, just a few minutes drive into the park. Shuttle bus service begins Memorial Day weekend and ends after Labor Day. Once in the park, you can get on and off the bus along the way on a space-available basis. You need to reserve tickets in advance. Walk-ins can wait 2 days or more for a seat. There is no food service in the park, so pack a lunch. trip to Wonder Lake is about 11 hours round trip. Bus tours are also available, and I highly recommend them. You may know Denali as Mount McKinley. This was once the name of the national park as well, until 1980, when 4 million acres were added and the name was changed to Denali National Park and Preserve. The park is now 6 million acres and is larger than the state of Massachusetts. Unfortunately, at the closest point to Denali on our trip, clouds veiled the mountain. On our return trip, there was lots to see, like this grizzly and young cub. We had seen spectacular scenery, including some relatively cloudless glimpses of the high one, Denali. Wildlife-wise, we felt pretty lucky to have seen 4 of the big 5: moose, sheep, grizzly, and caribou. Of course, we barely walked into the lobby of our lodge before a nice little old lady approached me asking, "Did you see that pack of wolves taking down the caribou by the road?" Hopefully next time. Visit us online at weekendexplorer.com. Watch full episodes on PBS and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.